So, Meta just launched the Quest Pro, their newest flagship VR headset, and after selling a kidney, buckling up, and paying almost $2,000 for it, I got a lot to say. Because on one side, the Quest Pro has turned into probably one of my favorite VR headsets I've ever used. But on the other hand, Meta launched this thing incomplete, with a few actually terrible decisions that make me wonder who this headset is even for. But really, whether you're in the market for a Quest Pro or not, if you're excited by VR technology at all, then this is going to be an interesting watch. Because there's a lot more than meets the eye regarding this headset, what it's trying to accomplish, and what it means for Meta and the whole VR industry right now. So this is the Quest Pro. I want to mention first though that this is an impressions and thoughts video. The Quest Pro just launched this past Tuesday, and while I've spent every second I can with it so far, a few days just isn't long enough to really fully review something like this. And I'm really not all that interested in rushing out a video to be first, and on top of that I had to rewrite half this video because a bunch of new features came to the Pro, and those new features changed my perspective on it and its future. So just know that the Pro is a work in progress. So yeah, for this video, specs, impressions, and thoughts at this point in time. Let's talk about the good before I get into the negatives. The Quest Pro has launched for a base price of $1,499, and in that box you get the headset, of course, the two new Pro controllers, a single controller charger, a USB-C cable, magnetic partial light blockers, and a dock that charges everything together. And right away, I'll say that everything feels pretty nice and premium. The front of the headset has this pretty sleek looking glass cover. Maybe the dryer test won't be the best for this one, but the materials are certainly higher quality than the Quest 2 or really most other VR headsets. And between the controllers and the headset come a whole slew of new sensors, but I think we'll reserve that for just a moment. Also packed in is an updated Snapdragon XR2 Plus with the headset boasting double the RAM of the Quest 2 at 12 GB. All of this giving the Pro more power, but all these sensors and new chips cost in battery life. I got about 2 hours and 15 minutes with eye and face tracking on, and a little more than 3 just using base Quest functionality. So as long as you're not using face and eye tracking all the time, the battery life isn't terrible, I guess. But let's talk about the visual experience while using the Pro. This headset actually has a very slightly lower resolution compared to the Quest 2 at 1800 by 1920 per eye versus 1832 by 1920. Although on the Pro you get 2 LCD panels versus the Quest 2 single panel, which opens up quite a few possibilities. One, the IPD adjustment is back to being continuous, accommodating from 55 to 75 millimeters, although in headset I can only go from 58 to 71, so I'm not sure what's going on here. But the point is that there's no more notched adjustment like on the Quest 2. Another great feature is that these are specialized LCD panels, leading to the Quest Pro having, in my opinion, the best looking LCD panels in any VR headset. The colors are super vibrant, making the Quest 2 seem a little dull. Local dimming makes the contrast ratio feel a lot better than most LCDs, and the resolution is high enough that games and text all look perfectly fine. It's not quite HP Reverb G2 or Vario levels of resolution, but I found that to be pretty okay. Although I did want to mention, it seems like there's a bit of display or a silicon lottery going on here. A guy on Reddit supposedly bought 2 Quest Pros, and according to them, it seemed like one Pro looked significantly better than the other, which could be explained by displays coming from different sources, leading to some people having a great experience while others just having a pretty okay experience. And this whole idea is something I'll have to look into further, but the wide variation in reviews regarding these displays could have this to blame, and it looks like I got a good one. But the real biggest change here that allots for significantly better visuals are the new pancake lenses that also serve to make the headset slimmer. Almost every other headset has Fresnel lenses, which can lead to God rays and all sorts of other visual artifacts, and these lenses get rid of that entirely. The clarity is boosted, colors bright, visual artifacts minimal, and the sweet spot is super large. And while some may be angry that the resolution isn't higher for this price, in my opinion, this is a better way to go about things. Just cramming more pixels into a headset isn't always the best answer when the full optic stack can be improved first. But now we can get into the field of view. So some state that the Quest Pro is around the same field of view as the Quest 2, and I would definitely argue with that. The Pro now has an eye relief slider on the top of the headset that allows you to get the lenses much closer to your eyes, and in my experience, if you put the relief slider all the way back so your eyes are as close to the lenses as possible, the field of view is noticeably increased over the Quest 2 by around 5 to 10 degrees horizontal. It's very much so welcomed. And you know, between all these visual updates, the comfort improvements, I found myself just using using the Pro a lot more than I would normally use a Quest. It's not that I ever forgot it was on my head, it's not that light or that comfy, but I ended up just leaving the headset on way more often. And I really only have a few gripes on comfort. It's not very foreheadable, which is something I do pretty often. An optional top strap would have been nice in general. Oh, and there's also a massive amount of light leak from the detachable side blinders. Like, you can see straight down and straight to the sides. And that does kind of bother me, but you can upgrade to the full VR blinder add-on, only for an extra 50 bucks, and that doesn't even ship until December. And once you get used to the light leak on the bottom, it's not too bad, but I would definitely prefer a detachable full VR blinder. But moving on, the Pro of course ships with the Pro controllers, which give the Index's knuckles a run for their money as my favorite VR controller. With the exception of a small wake-up time, the tracking quality is nearly flawless, now using 3 cameras per controller to do the same slam tracking that the headset itself does. And these cameras mean that whether the controllers are behind your head, out to the sides, being occluded by your other hand, they will still track and they'll do it well. Beat Saber, Pavlov, Productivity, they're good. The controllers also have an updated haptic feedback system that make them feel way higher quality, and to me, the Pro controllers are essentially the Xbox Elite controller of VR. While having a lower battery life than the standard Quest 2s, they are better in every single way. And in the future, you'll be able to buy them and use them with the Quest 2 as an upgrade for 300 bucks. That is after V47 drops, which isn't out yet, otherwise I would have shown it. And really, if you're looking at the Quest Pro as an enthusiast upgrade from the Quest 2, if you're wanting something better but want to stay in the Oculus ecosystem, then you might be led to believe that the Quest Pro is perfect for you. And here's where this review flips on its head, because it's really good, but for most of you, I would never recommend buying a Quest Pro, with a few exceptions that I'll get to. Because I'll be flat out honest, the Quest Pro has shipped pretty incomplete. And if you're looking for value, I don't know if this is it. The Pro has an amazing potential, it's just not quite there yet. And while Oculus is really good at adding features post-launch, I mean, just look at the Quest and Quest 2. They both launched with half the features they have now. Generally, Oculus is just really good at post-launch support, but I think they've gotten a little too comfortable with just fixing and adding things in later, because there are multiple things on the Quest Pro that the Quest 2 is kinda better at, and it's for no good reason. The whole business suite that Meta has been claiming the Pro will excel at is missing entirely. Wi-Fi 6E is coming at a later date. Wi-Fi itself is half broken, with AirLink and Virtual Desktop facing poor performance under some circumstances. Shoot, even Quest Link is kind of hit or miss right now on current software. The Pro is also missing recording tools that just came to Quest. Shoot, even Horizon Workrooms, the app that Meta said everyone will be working out of as one of the main selling points, only works on Mac. So much for that Microsoft partnership, I guess. And I know that there's gonna be a whole crowd of people saying right now, yeah, but this headset isn't for gaming, it's for work and enterprise. Well, let's be real, Chief. If it's not capable of gaming to the same level the Quest 2 is at on Link, for example, at least on this update, and the mixed reality features are pretty half-baked with pass-through resolution hardly better than the Quest, and all of these enterprise functions that it's supposed to have are just missing or half working, well then who is it really for, at least right now on its current software? Is the Quest Pro really just for professionals looking to ditch monitors and Zoom for Horizon? Because if that's the case, then there's no way I would ever recommend anybody for that. What I'm trying to say is that the not for gaming excuse is a dumb one. Plus, all these VR enterprise apps run in the same environments as games, PC or standalone. And having used and reviewed almost every single enterprise headset on the market, they all can game perfectly fine, even if they're missing a microphone. So, no. It's not just for enterprise professionals, and if it really was, then Meta would not be selling this at Best Buys to consumers like they are. The Pro is as prosumer as it gets, and if it lacks in the gaming department, it needs to be called out for it. Link and Wi-Fi just need to be updated for this headset, that's all I'm really asking for. Because it's really not all that bad. As much as Meta likes to pretend PC VR doesn't exist, they recently added a beta for their PC VR client that allows you to use eye and face tracking over Link, which, for some reason, it didn't launch with that functionality. And that update is why I had to rewrite a lot of this video. And it's really why I'm thinking that the Quest Pro is a work in progress. It's more or less a beta test. It's a dev kit. Not officially, of course, but I don't think Meta plans on making or selling a lot of these. From what I have seen, the Quest Pro is the first VR headset in an emerging market of true standalone mixed reality devices, designed to do a few things for Meta. One, get them in the door to compete against devices like the HoloLens or Magic Leap 2, and this is the real main actual enterprise usage. Not meetings in the metaverse, but where HoloLens is used, here's a Quest Pro instead. The second thing is to gather tons of data from its users, and not in a bad way, in the good way. If Meta sells 1 million Quest Pros to a targeted audience that will use it, then that audience will be providing a massive amount of user feedback and other data points that they will use to make their mixed reality systems and software significantly better. Just like how the Quest and Quest 2 got better over time, so will the Pro, all in preparation for a more mainstream device. And the third thing, to kickstart the entire mixed reality developer economy. This is, in a lot of ways, in my opinion, a mixed reality dev kit. Meta said, here's a bunch of tools, let's price it higher than consumers will be willing to pay, but low enough that developers will buy and build for it. And turns out most things you build for the Quest Pro will also work on the Quest 2, just doesn't look as pretty. So the Quest Pro is really an interesting device, but it serves a purpose. It is better than the Quest 2 in almost every single way, with a few software issues holding it back. In fact, standalone games looked so much better in headset, and the controllers were better, and the comfort was better that I almost forgot I was on a standalone headset sometimes. Some games even got eye-tracked foveated rendering as an update, and those look fantastic. But still, it's hard for me to seriously look at this headset, look at the price tag, look at where the features are right now, and tell everyone with a straight face that you should go out and spend 3 times the price of a Quest 2 for a Quest 2 that's 15% better. Basically, it's a really good device that's hard to recommend, so who is this for? If you're a VR enthusiast and you just want the best of the best at any time and you have extra money sitting around, go right ahead. You'll likely really love it, and you'll feel like you're an early adopter again, just messing around with a bunch of toys. Or if you're like me and wanting to find ways to have better workflows, especially on the go, and you're trying to work in VR while also playing in VR, well, this is a good tool, and the price tag isn't too bad if it helps you work better. Plus, even though mixed reality was grainy and wavy, I was using it constantly for all sorts of things. And finally, if you're a developer or industry professional and you want a somewhat malleable mixed reality headset to do designs, make apps or art, or to do more enterprise-focused things, then the Quest Pro will fit you perfectly. Just whatever you do, make your company pay for it. But if you're someone that's just looking to upgrade from a Quest 2 to something slightly better, please don't stretch your wallet thin just to buy this, because while it is better in almost every way, it's not worth 3 times the cost to do the same things you were doing before. And if you're really wanting a better gaming experience, I'd urge you to just nab the new controllers. Because really, the Quest Pro, like I said, is probably more or less a beta test. Meta will improve on the Wi-Fi, they will deliver a bunch of updates that make pass-through better, performance will improve, and many mixed reality apps will be built, but I think it's all in preparation for not this Pro, not a $2,000 beast, not an enterprise headset, but for something like the Quest 3 next year. Something that can only happen after a year of learning and after a year of updates. And don't get me wrong, I love the Pro, there's no way I'm ever going back to a Quest 2, but you're not really missing all that much by not being on the Pro, unless you're building, working, or just crazy about VR hardware like I am, I guess. I am, however, looking forward to pushing the Pro as far as possible, especially in the mixed reality category, kinda like I did with the XR3, but that'll have to be at a later date because the Quest Pro just isn't quite ready to be pushed yet. So what do you think? Is this something that you'd be into, or are you just into the controllers, or are you just skipping it entirely looking for something else in the future? Let me know down below, but I did want to say thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas. I couldn't have afforded this review without you. So don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.